Oldie Log Sports Info here, back with another vid for you guys. Yeah, y'all, hit that subscribe, like, bell icon so y'all can be notified of this reel because y'all know Oldie Log keeps it real. Yeah, you guys, so I was looking at boxing scene and Stanionis, it seems like he probably called for his WBA mandatory. Like I told y'all. Man, it's crazy. It's just crazy how right I be sometimes. Let's share the article. Don't waste any time, Odilo. This is crazy, bro. We gonna skip through the article. We ain't gonna wait. I mean, because he was talking about Conor Benn and how Eddie Hearn is protecting Conor Benn. We don't want to hear none of that. Whatever. Okay, this is what he said. He said, "My contract means I'm next in line to fight Spence, so I will wait for that opportunity," said Stanionis. "It would be cool if I could fight him for 3 belts because when you achieve one goal, you have to create new goals, and I want the other belts. I like a challenge. I want to see where I stand and want to see how deep I can dig and how far I can go through the fire. I don't know, listen, I don't know if Spence will fight Crawford next. I'm a sports fan too. I'm a sports fan too. And so I would love to see that fight. But I'm also young. I'm also a young and hungry fighter who wants the biggest fights. I'm contracted to fight Spence next. So maybe he gives up the belts and I will fight somebody else." End quote. Even though, Spence don't have to give up the belts. He would have to give up the WBA belt if he doesn't fight Stanionis. See, and I told people that's all they had to do. I was telling y'all, that's all the WBA have to do to wiggle Earl Spence up out of a situation. Just make a contract. He's a mandatory. You got to give him his mandatory shot, or unless you drop that belt. And then what the Earl Sexual is gonna say? Oh man, he had to fight Stanionis, or unless he was gonna get stripped. Y'all wanted for undisputed, right? I thought y'all want to fight for undisputed. No, we don't. Drop the belt. Drop the WBA belt and fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Yes, it would be lovely for undisputed, right? I'm pretty sure that Terrence Bud Crawford, he wanted for undisputed too, right? I'm pretty sure he do. But at this point, we want to see the fight. And I don't care about undisputed. I don't care about none of that. I just want to see the fight. Right? I know a lot of these big channels, though, they're going to push the narrative. Oh, don't y'all want to see undisputed? Don't y'all want the fight to be for undisputed? So let Earl Spence just have his last fight, right? And then after this fight, he'll fight Terrence Crawford. Right? Goalpost moving. Steady moving the goalpost. Steady moving the goalpost. And then what's going to happen? They're going to mandate Keith Thurman to fight Terrence Bud Crawford in the WBO, right? They're going to mandate in the WBO some kind of way, right? Because Boots Ennis, he tied up. Who else? It got Virgil Ortiz. He's not fighting right now. And I think he number 4. Thurman is number 4 in the WBO. So once Boots get into a fight, he out the way. Once Virgil do something, he gonna be out the way, and then he just gonna move on up, put in his paperwork, and then it's gonna be Keith Thurman versus Terrence Bud Crawford, if that happens. You feel what I'm saying? But Stanionis wants his mandatory. That's what it's looking like, people. That's what it's looking like. It's looking like Stanionis wants his mandatory. And it's like, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew something was going to come out the blue about Stanionis, an article. I knew it was coming. It's crazy how I could just read what the PBC do before they do it. I knew it was coming. Right? Because he can't go the IBF route because he got to fight Jerron Boots Ennis. Right? If he go the IBF route, even though he owed the IBF a mandatory before the WBA. He owed the IBF a mandatory since 2018. He haven't fought a mandatory since 2018 in the IBF. That was the first belt he won. He needs to give them a mandatory before the WBA. And why ain't the IBF saying nothing? Right? Because they don't have nobody in that mandatory spot. They don't have nobody in that number one spot. Right? And they keeping that number one spot empty for a reason. Jerron Boots Ennis was supposed to be bumped up into that number one spot. But they haven't bumped him up. No, he got to go through an eliminator. Then he going to have to go through a final eliminator. Watch. I just showed y'all the other day. That they had two different eliminators. Right? When they first announced the fight with Jerron Boots Ennis, it was a final eliminator. Then 2 weeks later, it was an article that said it just was an eliminator. And that's the same thing they did to Louis King Kong Ortiz versus Charles Martin. They said it was a final eliminator. And then once the fight got close to the fight, they said it just was an eliminator. And then the winner of that fight had to take on Herkovich for the mandatory. Right? Yeah, because Alexander Usyk is the champion. So I just proved that the other day. So, yeah, you guys, Stanionis probably wants his mandatory. Let's read it one more time. And then I'm probably going to get up out of here. My contract means I'm next in line to fight Spence. So I will wait for the opportunity, says Stanionis. It will be cool if I could fight him for 3 belts because when you achieve one goal, you have to create new ones. And I want the other belts. I like a challenge. I want to see where I stand. And I want to see how deep I can dig and how far I can go through the fire. I don't know if Spence will fight Crawford next. I'm a sports fan too. And so I would love to see that fight. But I'm also a hungry fighter who wants the biggest fights. I'm contracted to fight Spence next. So maybe he gives up the belts and I will fight somebody else. Right? Even though he put belts on there, it was supposed to be belt. And that's the WBA belt. Right? So come on, man. It's exactly what I told you guys. It's exactly what I told you guys. Stanionis, all the WBA had to do, right? Get their pockets greased. Like, what's up, School Skills? All the WBA had to do, get their pockets greased, and then they just mandate, they just put Stanionis right there, and they don't let him take no step aside money, right? And they put the pressure on Spence, right, to drop that belt or fight Stanionis, even though he owed the IBF a mandatory before the WBA. He just got the WBA belt from August. He just got it on the 16th. So he shouldn't be doing no WBA mandatories. None. Right? Unless that was in the contract. Right? Unless that was part of the step aside. Right? Unless that was part of the step aside money when they had to get Ugas out of the fight with Stanionis. right? They promised Stanionis the winner of that fight. You get the winner of that fight, all right? Knowing damn well that Earl Spence Jr. really don't want to take him on. So they're going to put the pressure on Earl Spence Jr. Hey, bro, you got to take on Stanionis or drop that belt, right? And what are the Earl sexuals going to say? Y'all already know what they going to say. Y'all already know it's going to be move the goalpost. Oh, he has to take on Stanionis. He have to do this, or unless it won't be for Undisputed. Right? Y'all want Undisputed, right? No, we don't. We never did want it. We wanted these guys to fight with one belt. We wanted them to fight with two belts. We wanted them to fight with three belts. Right? We wanted these guys to fight with one belt. Right? When Earl Spence Jr. had a belt and Terrence Crawford didn't even have a belt, we wanted them to fight. Right? When Terrence Crawford got a belt, we wanted him to fight. Shit, when Earl Spence Jr. got two belts and Crawford got one belt, we still wanted them to fight. So it ain't about Undisputed with the boxing fans. Yeah, probably to the boxers. Yes, it's probably about Undisputed to them. But to us, no, we just want to see the fight. It could have been one belt, right? But Stanionis, like I told y'all though, y'all got to admit, I be knowing what I be knowing what I be talking about. Y'all got to admit it. Like, damn, I don't even like to toot my own horn like that because it'd be shocking that I be on point. I be like, damn, I'm shocked. Like, damn, you know Al Heyman like that? Right? Because that's the only way he could have that's the only way he can weasel up out of a Terrence Crawford fight. The only way. And still stay at 147. Right? And not have to vacate no belts. And push off the fight to 2023. Terrence Crawford will be what? 35 going on 36. Push it off. Oh yeah, with Spence he offered Canelo. Oh yeah, nah, bro. Like that article was before. Like it was before, but they said he was going by a plan. The Earl sexuals, they love to say, "Oh, he was going by a plan." Oh, you remember what he said backstage? He got a plan. He trying to clean up his side of the street. Well, Canelo ain't part of that plan. I did not hear him say Canelo backstage. Did anybody hear him say Canelo? I heard him say Pacquiao. Yeah, but I didn't hear him say no damn Canelo. Right? And then for $55 million? God, I mean, damn. 55? Like Earl gonna win the fight. Earl gonna get his ass whooped. Right? Let's just be honest. It was a cash out. This man trying to duck Crawford cash out. He trying to pull a Kell Brook 2.0. Right? That's the same thing that Kell Brook did to Earl Spence Jr. when Earl Spence Jr. wanted his title shot. He said, okay, I'm going to give you a title shot after I go and fight Triple G. Right? I'm going to give you a title shot after I go and fight Triple G. Got his eye broken up, ruined his boxing career. Come on. Kell Brook ain't been the same since Triple G. But this is crazy. It's really crazy. But yeah, y'all, like Stanionis, he probably won't his shot at the titles. At the title, right? At the WBA title. And if the WBA, if they push through, you feel what I'm saying? It's nothing that, that Earl Spence or nobody else really can do about it. You feel what I'm saying? Like he gonna either have to fight Stanionis or drop the WBA belt. Even though we know real boxing fans, right? We know that the IBF should be calling for a mandatory, not the WBA. He just won the WBA on the 16th. Damn, he just won it on April 16th. The WBA shouldn't be talking about no mandatory, right? It should be the IBF. And we already know who's in the IBF. Jerron Boots Ennis is right there. And why haven't they moved up Jerron Boots Ennis? Why? Because Jerron Boots Ennis can put in his paperwork to be the mandatory. You see how that worked? So we keep Jerron Boots Ennis at number 3, right here. Right, we just settle him right here. He's gonna take on Custio Clayton, right, for a final eliminator. It's not gonna, for eliminator, because it's not gonna be a final eliminator. Even after that fight, Jerron Boots Ennis probably don't even be the mandatory. Right, he probably gonna have to fight somebody else to be the mandatory. Mark my words. I just proved it with Louis King Kong Ortiz. They said that the fight with him and Charles Martin was a final eliminator. After he won that fight, what happened? They said the winner of that fight got to take on Herkovich, who was what? In the IBF. For a what? Final eliminator. To become the what? Mandatory for Alexander Usyk. That's how the IBF gets you. That's how the IBF gets you. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm going to leave it right there, you guys. I just wanted to inform you guys because, I got to keep y'all up on game. I got to keep y'all up on game. But I just want to inform you guys that Stanionis, he might, he probably step up in there and he probably want his WBA mandatory. And we already know, right? We already know. If all this happens, we already know. Pockets been greased. Stuff been happening behind the scenes, you guys. So subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Like the video. Like. Hit that notification button. I'm gone, you guys.